Picture this. You just bought your first home. You saved for years, got pre-approved, and finally signed. Everyone around you is celebrating. Your parents are proud. Your coworkers are impressed. You feel like you made a real adult move. Then the first full month of bills arrives, and you realize something no one warned you about. You own a home, but you do not own your paycheck anymore. Your mortgage does. This is the house poor trap, and it does not only happen to people who made reckless decisions. It happens to careful, responsible people who followed advice that was technically correct, but dangerously incomplete. Here is the core problem. When a lender approves you for a mortgage, that approval letter tells you the maximum you qualify for, not the maximum you should spend. The bank calculates your approval based on your gross income, your credit score, and your existing debt load. It does not account for your retirement savings rate, your emergency fund, your car payment, your student loans, or the reality that a water heater costs $1,200 to replace on a random Tuesday afternoon. The approval tells you what you can borrow. It does not tell you what you can absorb into your actual financial life without gutting everything else you are trying to build. Those are two very different numbers, and most first-time buyers never stop to compare them. Here is where the money quietly disappears. Most people think of home ownership in terms of a mortgage payment, but the mortgage is just the starting point. On top of that payment, you have property taxes, homeowner's insurance, and if you put down less than 20%, private mortgage insurance. That last item is worth pausing on. PMI does not protect you. It protects the lender. You pay it every single month until you hit 20% equity in the home. Then there is maintenance. A reasonable planning assumption is 1% of your home's value per year. On a $350,000 home, that is $3,500 a year, or about $290 a month, sitting in a reserve for the roof, the HVAC, the plumbing, and everything else that will eventually need replacing. If you have an HOA fee on top of all that, the total cost of ownership looks very different from the single mortgage number most buyers plan around. Let me put real numbers on this. Say you earn $90,000 a year. After taxes and standard deductions, your monthly take-home pay is roughly $5,800. You buy a $425,000 home with 5% down. Your mortgage payment on the remaining loan balance at a 7% interest rate is about $2,690 per month. Add property taxes of $425, homeowner's insurance of $140, private mortgage insurance of $170, and a maintenance reserve of $350. Your total monthly housing cost comes to around $3,770. That is 65% of your take-home pay going toward one asset before you have bought a single bag of groceries. Now subtract the rest of real life. A $450 car payment, $350 in student loan payments, and $600 for groceries and utilities. You are left with roughly $600 per month. You earn $90,000 a year, and your monthly savings margin is $600. That is not a wealth-building pace. That is barely keeping up. Now here is the part most people do not want to hear. The bank did not do anything wrong. You asked for a loan, and they gave you what you qualified for. The issue is that the most important financial decision of your adult life was framed entirely around what you could borrow, with almost no attention paid to what your financial life could actually carry. And the gap between those two things is exactly where the house poor trap lives. Compare that to buying a $300,000 home on the same income. Your total housing cost drops to about $2,665 a month. After the same car payment, student loans, and groceries, you have roughly $1,700 a month left to save and invest. That is over $1,000 more each month than the price of your home allowed. Invested at a 7% return over 10 years, that difference compounds to roughly $190,000 in additional wealth. The smaller home did not cost you a lifestyle, it funded one. So what is the smarter move? It starts with asking a completely different question. Instead of asking how much house you can qualify for, ask how much house still leaves you room to save aggressively, invest consistently, and absorb a financial surprise without going into debt. That one shift in framing changes everything about the decision. A useful target is to keep your total housing cost, meaning the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance combined, under 30% of your take-home pay. Not your gross salary, your take-home pay. That is the number that actually hits your account. If your take-home is $5,800 a month, 30% is about $1,740. If your all-in housing cost exceeds that target, you need one of three things: a higher income, a larger down payment, or a less expensive home. No amount of careful budgeting rescues a payment that is structurally too large for your income. Here is what to actually do. Before you make an offer on any home, calculate the total monthly housing cost, including property taxes, insurance, PMI if applicable, and a 1% annual maintenance reserve divided by 12. That is your real number, not the mortgage payment alone. Second, check that total against 30% of your take-home pay, because that is the threshold where housing tends to start crowding out everything else you are trying to build. And third, before you close, run a trial budget. Act as if the new payment is already active and track how your finances actually feel for a couple of months. Adjusting your price range before you sign is far less painful than adjusting your life after. Wealth Nexus Rule. Your lender tells you what you qualify for. You decide what you can actually afford. Never confuse the two, because one protects the bank and the other protects your financial future. If you want a structured way to run this kind of math before a major financial decision, the Wealth Nexus Financial Blueprint Workbook walks through home buying affordability, debt management, and investing in one practical guide. The link is in the description. And if you want honest money breakdowns like this one, delivered to your inbox, the Wealth Nexus newsletter is free. No spam, just clear financial content. The sign-up link is below. Buying a home is not automatically a smart financial move. It depends on the price, the payment, and how much room it leaves for every other financial goal you are carrying alongside it. The house poor trap does not come from bad intentions. It comes from measuring affordability by what the bank will lend you instead of by what your income can actually sustain without sacrificing everything else. The buyers who build real wealth are not the ones who stretch the furthest. They are the ones who stayed close enough to the margin to keep building after they signed. Like and subscribe.